full basketball mode, and glad to be here with you today. We will have these each Monday at 12:30. I think the only exception is maybe the day after Christmas. We may skip that one. Probably some folks still enjoying the holiday, but every other Monday we will be here with a head coach and hopefully a player. Coach Greg Gary, Coach Susie Gardner. Our guests today, players-wise, when we get to them, for the men will be Luis Hurtado Jr., and for the ladies, Amoria Neal-Tysor. In addition to home basketball games coming up this week, there's also some extra events, extra projects that the coaches might want to mention. I know Coach Gardner has one coming up for her first game, but we'll open it up. Again, the women will play Alabama here Wednesday night at 7, South Alabama Sunday at 2, and then the guys will welcome Kennesaw State in for Friday at 7. With that, Coach Gardner, let you go first, and then Amoria, and then we'll go to the men.
First thing I'd like to talk about, and the main thing I'd like to talk about, is our game on Wednesday. We play Alabama home. This is the 7th year in a row that we've had a BCS school come to our gym. And if you want to do some research on other women's programs in the mid-major, how many times in a row they bring a BCS school to their gym. You can check SoCon and beyond. So this is a big deal, because it doesn't happen much. Obviously, these types of teams want to play us because they have to have a certain net score, and it's good for them to play teams of our caliber. It's good for us because these are the types of teams that we'll play in the in-state tournament. So hopefully we can have our largest crowd. We haven't had many home games. I think we have 2. And we only have 6 pre-season. But this would be one to promote, all right? The other part of this is, I didn't mean to do it like this. That was not the plan. But since I did it, this is not just a women's basketball story. This is a Macon story. And it's something that's really important to me. It's really important, I think, to this community. Anyone that knows Mike Kaplan or the Kaplan family, they've lived here forever. Mike's lived here his entire life. And his wife, Nancy, her daughter, Mary, is Nancy's biological daughter. Mike married Nancy and adopted Mary. Mary had Williams syndrome, all right, which is I don't know exactly how to describe it. You can look it up. But Mary was a friend of mine. I was fortunate that Mike and Jamie, his sister, and Nancy and Mary, they would ask me to go to dinner sometimes on Sunday nights. They had this, every Sunday night they would go eat Mexican. And if anybody knew Mary, Mary was very, very specific about what she would order, how it was ordered, and that she got her Coke. And I was blessed to spend some time with Mary and become her friend. But she passed away at age 45 unexpectedly in their home, and it kind of, disrupted their world a little bit. The interesting part about this, and I don't think Mike would mind me saying this, because I did go to the funeral, and Mike, in all his bravery, got up to speak. Now, Mike, the Kaplan family, they're Jewish. And what was funny is I'm bawling at the funeral, and Mike gets up and tells this story about, and he would take Mary to work every day because she was a special adult. And Mike said, I'm the only Jewish guy in Macon playing Christmas music in my car on the way to work, because Mary absolutely loved Christmas. And so in her passing, they decided to do something, as we know, about the Merry Christmas Project, which has reached hundreds of families in Macon that don't have the money to pay for Christmas. But what we're promoting at our game is Mary's Closet, which is not quite as well known as Merry Christmas Project. And that is it's a location that supplies socks, underwear, belts, all these children in Macon that have to wear uniforms to school that don't have what they need. So we're gonna collect socks. Anyone that brings socks to the game gets in free, new socks. But these are for the children that come to school with either no socks or dirty socks that haven't been washed. Mike is gonna come to our practice today. We end practice around 5 o'clock, and talk to our players and explain to them who Mary was, how special she was, and then explain to them what the Merry Christmas Project in Mary's Closet is. I've been in contact with Christy Curry, who's the head coach at Alabama, a friend of mine. Alabama is going to collect socks as well. We've reached out to all the athletes at Mercer, not you because you're on the road. I didn't bother you yesterday. If they wanted to donate socks, but Christy and I are going to hand Mike Kaplan as many socks as we can collect between now and Wednesday prior to the game. And so that's going to hopefully bring attention to the fans that are there or to the media that actually physically come to the game to maybe take pictures and video or whatever you want to take. But to get the word out to the community, it's a big game. Yeah, it's a big game. But this is why we picked this game to do this for Macon, because it was hopefully the game that we would have the most fans prior to our conference. So that is what I really, really want to focus on today. If you have questions, I'm sure you have questions about Alabama, perhaps the tournament, but that is what I hope that you all will focus on these next few days.
Susie, can you step out from behind the podium and see the shirt a little better? Is that the Merry Christmas shirt?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, any questions?
Because when you're doing an event like that, is it harder to get your team to focus? Maybe that's a better question for Amoria. I don't know, because the Merry Christmas Project, Mary's Closet, is such a big event. Is it harder to get them focused on the game, or is that maybe, hey, this is more impetus to win this big game?
We're pretty good at focusing on the task at hand, and this may be the first that Amoria's heard of this whole deal right now. So, but no, we do this a lot, and we have distractions. I mean, all the time, and we do a good job, I think, as a coaching staff to keep the distractions away from them and do it like that. So now you could ask Amoria that same question, but I have a feeling I know the answer. I've known her for a long time.
I'm sure you've had a lot of these holiday Thanksgiving trips over the years with your teams. What was unique about the experience in Vegas?
I would say the trickiest part was our games were supposed to start at 8 each night, and because they were like 4 games a day. Our first game started at 9, and our second game started at 9:15. So you plan for your pregame meal. As a planner that I am, you have I didn't get hungry. Were you hungry? You were hungry? See, so you have your pregame meal 3.5 hours before the game, and then you don't play until whatever, later than you're supposed to. And then, of course, by the time we finished, it was 11:30 at night. For me, the first game on Friday, of course, that night I had to stay up and prepare for our next opponent. So the fatigue factor kind of set in. I mean, we had time to take a lot of naps, but it was a great experience. I mean, a lot of our players had never been to Vegas. We got to see a show. I can never say it right. I would tell my sister, we're going to go see the Circus Delay. I know that's wrong, but we got to see that one night, and we kept them up. We made them stay up so their bodies would be. We didn't talk about it. We never mentioned the Pacific Standard Time, but in my head I knew that it was freaking 2:15 in the morning, and I was watching film, and so. But anyways, but it was a great experience. Great teams were there. Some Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, Colorado State's going. I think they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. Memphis was there. It was a great competition there for sure.
Did the team celebrate Thanksgiving together? How'd that happen?
Yeah, I tell you what, the food. I don't go to Vegas. That's not where I hang out. But the food was amazing. Like every meal, I thought was amazing. And we had, great. Oh, who do we see? Who was it? They're having a private party for Aerosmith. Yeah, he was in the next. He was performing there, and he was in the next room over. We had our private, and then he went to the bathroom a few times with his bodyguard, and we kept trying to get David or Ben or somebody. Don't y'all need to go to the restroom? But they said no. Like our kids were not being very cool. They were trying to take pictures, and they said no pictures. So we saw. Who the lead singer is for you guys that know that kind of music? That's not my music, but anyway, he was there. But the food was great, and then that's when we went and watched something outside. But yeah, it was. Amoria's been 5 years. Coach has been. I haven't been home for Thanksgiving. You haven't been home for Thanksgiving since we left for college. So we're kind of used to it. And the big fear as a coach and is the food going to be good? Because it's not. We did not have mac and cheese. I heard that was a staple that we did not have. But the food was amazing. It really was.
And then lastly, I know we're perception of shooting the basketball in a ballroom like that. Was that a part of the coaching and the approach?
All right,
at all?
I prepared mentally for questions about Las Vegas, like what you're asking, and I'll be glad to answer this question if you promise me you'll promote the Merry Christmas closet
Absolutely.
in the game. Okay, all right, you deal? All right. Okay, so what we do, now what happened was Indiana was the highest profile team there, number 5, 6 in the country, and they had this is the scoop that I get, you might. So they had a player on their team that transferred from Oregon on Indiana's team, that very high TikTok following. This is very important. If you remember, whenever we went to the NCAA tournament in San Antonio when all the hoopla came up, the person that leaked that information was also from Oregon. So she had played on the same team with this kid from Oregon. So she decided she was going to get her time. So my understanding is she leaked it. Indiana, being the high profile, they got the quotes. I will say no one ever welcomed me there. No one said, I'm sorry. Like the quote, the article said that he apologized to everyone. No, I don't even know who he was. I never met him. He never apologized. You know, we got to shoot in there for an hour the day before. I don't know. You have to ask Maury about the shooting part of we really don't, we didn't talk about it. You know, we don't make it, we try to adjust, to everything, so we don't make it a big deal about much of anything. I know it's a boring answer, but we didn't say, y'all, we're gonna have a meeting about this. This is inequitable. It's like, what's that gonna solve at the moment? You know, so we just kind of just went with the flow, I think, didn't we? Kind of went with the flow, okay. But, you know, it had my biggest issue was starting the game so late. The seating, the fan experience was probably the worst for them than it was for us. The benches and the courts were the same, but the fan experience was pretty sad. And then, of course, the injured kid from Auburn. That's one they better worry about, quite honestly, when the kid from Auburn got hurt. But luckily for us, we came out there, you know, okay.
Game planning for Alabama, you talk a lot about the strength of your guys' non-conference schedule. What do you see from them? What makes this game a big one for you?
Okay, Alabama, it's so interesting, and I know Coach Gary has got a lot of excellent transfers on his team. Okay, excellent. You're my favorite. But Alabama has like 7 transfers, and so you can't even really look at last year, us versus us, and compare it to this year because so many people left for them, and she brought so many new people in. But you know, I think Christy does an amazing job there. You know, they're going to be, you know, bigger than the guards are going to be. I was an SEC player. This is why Maury gets used to having guards, and they're a little bit quicker than I was too at Alabama. But the size and the athleticism of these teams is what is the challenge for us. Is Maury just as good as any guard on their team? Yes. But when she's being guarded by 5'10", 5'11" players, it's a little bit trickier for her and Hout as well to get their shots off. But you know, I think Alabama. I don't know whether they're picked to finish, but they always are close to the NIT or the NCAA or the WNIT. But you know, we're excited. We really are. We came off playing 2 great teams in Vegas, and I said, well, let's go home and get ready for Alabama. You know, and so they understand it. They excited. I think they get excited about these types of games way more than they would maybe the non-Division I team we just played, for sure. So it's going to be a challenge for us. It's what we signed up for, and we are excited about it.
What do you need the fans to bring from Mary's Closet?
Socks, new socks, brand new socks. You know, so I'm going to hit up Home Goods or Marshall's, whatever that is, at Bass Road, and try to find it. And I hope our players are going to do something for that as well. But we're excited. Thank you guys for being here.
Anything else for Coach Gardner? All right, thank you, Coach. Amoria Neal-Tysor. Amoria's a graduate student, her 5th year with the program, a native of Sanford, North.
You know, talking about like what you had mentioned with the national attention that was brought. We had an amazing time. We met a lot of great people, had a lot of great food, as Coach mentioned. We got to see the Beatles Love Show, which was amazing. It was long, but it was beautiful. But yeah, Vegas was amazing. We had a great time. I've never been, so it was really cool to be able to see all the really big buildings, all the nice stores, and the nice hotel. The rooms were nice. The food was, again, amazing. So yeah.
How exciting was that, just from like a team bonding perspective? You know, you obviously coming back for another year here, to be able to have that experience with your team, and just from a bonding perspective, I guess.
One thing I can say about every team that since I've been here is that we've all been really close. Coach Garner really doesn't have to fight with us being a team just because of how close we are on and off the court. So just being in Vegas, we treated it as if it was like we were at home. We had a great time, as well as just being in Vegas and being able to experience all the stuff that was there. So we just had a great time. We were able to focus on the task at hand, as well as being able to go see the Beatles, eat great food, and everything that comes with Vegas.
Was it any tougher to shoot in that ballroom? Did it change at all?
Well, a basket is a basket, a ball is a ball. So we were just going in there, just trying to shoot as if we were shooting anywhere else. So, yeah.
What did you guys learn from those games there, and what you take into the rest of the non-conference schedule here?
We learned a lot about ourselves during those 2 games, just because we had a little time to prepare for the next game. Coach Garner, after the game, we said, hey, this is our chance to focus on us. So just focusing on ourselves and doing what we need to do to win these games moving forward was the big goal.
Alabama coming in early in the season, is it better to play a team like that early or later in the season? Coach mentioned that it could help prep for an NCAA type of appearance. Is it good to have it this early, or would you like to have that later?
Just being able to play whenever we can play, you know what I mean? They're obviously a good team. Like Coach Gardner said, that they're more athletic and they do have height advantage, but we have heart, and we're going to play as a team, and we're going to play with that heart and, do what we need to do.
Okay, anything else from Amoria? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Greg Gary, about Coach, his 100th game at Mercer on Friday night. He's up to, 102 now, Coach? He says time's fly by.
It is.
Fresh from,
Flies by when you're having fun, right, Susie? That's right. With the socks, I asked her when she said what size socks. She just said kids on up to high school. So I wanted to clarify that. So we'll make sure we do that. Really, really good to be able to get back from or to experience a trip like we did to Savannah. More, it's 3 games in 3 days. Puts us in an experience situation as we get to the conference tournament. In the same back to back to back, you have to do it. Overall, pretty proud. 2-1. We ended up losing the championship game to Townsend, which Townsend, from people that here in the South don't know a lot about, they're picked near the top of their league. They're very good. They were top 75, I think, coming into the year preseason. So they're a very, very good team. And I felt like we didn't play as well as we could have, to be honest with you, in that situation. So hopefully next time we play in the championship game, we'll experience a little bit differently and know what we need to do more. Because sometimes you get in those situations, you've not been in them, you got to really pay attention to detail, carry out your assignments, and think confidently, whether things happen good or bad. So there was a lot of things that we learned from our team. I continue to like the way they fight. They from day one have done a heck of a job in just fighting. Now we got to be a little bit smarter and play the game the right way at certain times, especially when you're playing against a really good team. But looking forward to coming up also this Friday. I thought about Kennesaw yesterday after the game. That's the only time I thought about him. Haven't watched anything yet, but we'll continue to do that for the next 3 days. We got him Friday. Amir's done a great job. He's built it and keeps getting better and better every year. So they're going to be a very good team coming in. They've got older guys that have stayed, and he's done an excellent job. So looking forward to them on Friday. It's going to be another athletic, physical team. I mean, East Carolina was that way. The Robert Morris, Fairfield, those Northeast teams, they're physical. They got some toughness about them. And Florida State's athletic and has size and physicalness. So we have experience, and that's what I like playing, just to put us in situations that are difficult for us in the preseason. So looking forward to it on Friday.
You kind of alluded to it there, but what's the next step for this group to, these close games against the Georgia States and the Florida States? What separates you guys from,
Hey, please ask Luis that when he comes up here, all right? Because I'm going to say, he's probably going to say the same thing I am. It's just putting yourself, we have put ourselves in situations to win games, all right? Every one of them, all right? So now what we have to do is defensively, we watch film and close games, you got to be able to get timely stops. You got to be able to take care of the basketball. It's all coach speak, but it all matters, all right? And those two things are important, but you got to have a little bit of confidence. You got to have a little bit of swagger and some toughness to finish things off. Are you going to win every one of them? No. But if we do our jobs and do it at a high level, you give yourself such a great chance of winning those close games. So we have to start finishing those. So as this team goes forward, we got to be better defensively. We are better than we were last year defensively, but still not where we need to be ultimately to win championships.
In terms of that confidence with a pretty good looking group with guys like Luis here, how has that sort of progressed through these first couple of weeks?
They're a close team. I said it from day one. I mean, this is my fourth year here. It's been the best preseason practices, competition, team chemistry that I've felt all along. All right, so that's good. Now it's just with new guys experiencing, like some guys have been in, he's played on an NCAA team, he's played on a championship team. Luis, he had a couple of other guys. He wasn't necessarily the guy, or like he's one of our captains, so his role has changed a little bit with us. So we don't know exactly how he's going to respond in those situations. And the players don't. So we're all learning each other too. When you have this, turnover a little bit, that's part of it. But the thing is, they're good dudes. They care about each other. And now it's our job as coaches and them as players to let's get on the same page. Let's know what their strengths is, what their weaknesses are. I think that's important, just to be able to, kind of sift through and find out what works. Our Robert Morris game, Fairfield game, like we came up with the right last 4 or 5 minutes, with the kind of the right 5 out there. And so, but the next game, those 5 that finish that might not be the same 5, just depends on how the game goes. And that's why early in the season, when you're doing those things, that's where you gotta figure it out, and you learn from it as coaches too. I know it's a long-winded answer, but
For this tournament, was it more important to come out of there? I mean, we almost won the tournament.
yeah.
Would that have been more important, or maybe the 3 games in 3 days, prepping for a run later in the season?
No, winning.
Winning.
100% winning. And I heard Susie, I didn't say anything to our person that put together our tournament either. But we played 9 o'clock the first night, 7:30 the second, and then turn around and play at 5? Was it 5 o'clock? Yeah. Townsend played at 2:30, and then 5. So they had a little bit extra time, which is fine. I mean, I told the guys, like that's even another, like, okay, that should be more motivation, because as coaches and players, you try to find any motivation you can, just to try to amp up your level of competition. So, but I told them too, 3 games, we practiced preseason 3 days in a row, 2.5 hours, 3 hours a day. So like, games are more fun than practice, right? They are. So winning though, yeah, I'd rather won the whole thing.
Coach, we talked about this at the tournament, but you had some guys who have worked hard in practice and earned more playing time, that you allowed more playing time during the tournament. Can you talk about some of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, really, we're obviously we're down a couple guys with Jalen Cobb, who would have been a starter, James Glisson, who would have been a starter, Shannon Grant would have been a starter. So it's allowing other guys to be able to get experience, which on down the line, it's going to really pay off. Because I talked about earlier how our depth is good. We still, that depth is having to help us right now. All right, and some guys, like David Craig's playing over 20 minutes a game. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't expect him to play over 20 minutes a game as a freshman. But his development is coming along. It's going to help him, all right, and eventually it's going to help us big time. He's had some really, really good games, all right? No one else recruited the kid. Like, no one else really did. So like, he's well beyond where he needs to be, but he's still learning. Back to back to back is probably hard on him. So if we had some other dudes in there, he wouldn't be playing 25 minutes a game. So, you know, with that, there have been a number of guys have to step up. Harrison Drake's done a great job the last couple of days. Susie knows this too, you can trust him on the court. He does his job, he listens, and he's tough-minded. So when you get in those tournament situations, sometimes you got to play some guys that you might not, just because, you know, the 3 days and 3 games in 3 days. So Harrison's done a good job. You know, Luis is, again, in a different role, a little bit more of a different role this year, and he continues to get better. So I'm not one. I don't have a set rotation. Like, man, if you're playing well, and then why would you not play more? You know.
Well, set the stage for Luis, who is next. But one area where this team has excelled is in the assist category. One of the better teams in the conference, even in the nation. I know that's something you like, a characteristic.
Yeah, I think I like it, but I also think guys like playing with teams that pass the ball and share it. So I think that's important. I think it's also hard to. You should be harder to guard. We get stagnant sometimes, but that's something that we preach about, moving the basketball, and I think it's harder to guard when you do that. But yeah, we got to continue to do that, and you just give yourself more opportunities when you have less turnovers and you get more possessions. So, anything else? Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Coach. All right, Luis Hurtado Jr. Luis, graduate student, transferred from Bryant, averaging more than 10 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, 4.6 rebounds. One of the leaders in the conference in assists thus far. Made some clutch free throws down the stretch in a couple of those games that allowed us to get the wins. Luis?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to talk about our food, Thanksgiving food, which was cooked by one of the coaching staff wife, and it was a homemade food, so it was grateful we ate it for that day and for the next day, I believe. They will have it so I think, I want to say thank you to them, and it was, the opportunity to have it and eat as a team. It was great, and have the family. I feel like we were home, and the support that they brought, and the food was good, so it was great.
Given it's your first year here, what was special about this week, and getting to bond with the team over the holiday, and maybe getting to know your guys on that team a little bit better?
It was a great experience, like Coach said. Playing 3 games in 3 days is something that we will do, later in the year in the conference tournament. So having that, it was a great experience, known to how to rest for the next game and prepare for the next game. That's something that we're gonna see later on. So, and the team bonding, like I say, is we are pretty close. For being a lot of new guys in the team, I feel like we're pretty close. We care about each other, and we all trying to do the best team for trying to learn from each other. And I feel like that's something that this tournament helped us to do that, and then it was a great experience overall.
How is your adjustment to Mercer coming along? Why'd you decide to come here, and how have these first few weeks of the season gone for you?
It's been all right. Like I say, like Coach believes in me, and he gave me, like I said, like a different role than I was last year. And each game I'm trying to learn more from each other, from me, and how can I adjust to that role, and how can I help this team be in the position where I was last year, where I went to the NCAA tournament. So it's been, not saying hard, but it's been a fun process. And I came here because of the coaching staff. I believe that what he told me from when I committed in the visit was great in the spot, and he has it. He didn't lie to me. So it's been something that as a player you feel confidence, and you play in a different level. I feel like I never played like this in a year. Like I was in a different role, and now I'm playing to a position where I was not doing this last year. So you confidence, and you start seeing yourself, and it's like, oh, I can do more. And it starts to think of like, how can I help now? Like I'm trying to get used to the team and get used to the new system. How can I help this team to get it to the NCAA tournament?
And in terms of those close games where you guys have come up short, what's going to be the difference for you guys to win some of those going forward?
I believe that every game comes to the last 4 minutes, and we are right there. It's a new team, a lot of new guys. last year I was in the same position where, we lost a lot of games, non-conference, and we went to the tournament and we were prepared. And because we did these games, it prepares us to those games that were in a conference. So I feel like these games that are right now, like one of my other teammates said, like this is a feeling that we want to have to feel because we're going to prepare for not to have those feelings later on in the year. So I feel like these games are preparing us for later on in the season.
We've talked a little bit about the fan experience in the tournaments. Some of the video clips, there weren't many fans at your tournament. How does that impact the play? I mean, do you feed off of crowd energy, or do you just put that out, a lack of crowd energy, and just get after it?
Good question. Sometimes it's hard, like when you don't see a big arena and there's no fans, but we brought our own energy, as a team. I feel like the bench was great this tournament, and the coaching staff and all the players were bought into, like, we want to win. We got 2 games, and then the last game we came short, but we wanted to play like it was a championship game, and it was. So I feel like bringing our energy and then being connected to more and talking more, and which it helps. Like, you don't have that many fans out there. You can talk to more, and then you can listen to your teammates in the court, which is something that we have to get better at. But I feel like it was good experience for us to learn when to play when there's nobody there or when there's more people there.
Okay, anything else for Luis? All right, thank you very much, Luis.
Thank you.
Just a reminder now, 3 home games.